Okay, sorry about that, Andrew.
Sure. All good. So yeah, just bringing different members of the adaptive community together, because I think a lot of coaches, and I'm sure a lot of the coaches who are attending this workshop are interested in adaptive tennis, but maybe don't have the exposure to those who do deal with it on a week-to-week, day-to-day basis. So we wanted to bring together some of the best panelists we could find to give you more information and give you an opportunity to sort of learn how they handle each of their programs, so you could take that back to your students.
That's absolutely right, Andrew. And even our past president, Jeff Jackfeld, had been trying to get this off the ground, and circumstances just didn't happen. But we are super excited today. We've got some fantastic panelists here. To start us off, we have Harlan Matthews. He started playing wheelchair tennis in 2001. And he since then has become not just a fallen in love with tennis itself, but has become an instructor, a tournament director, a wheelchair sports coordinator, and manager of a tennis club. I mean, this guy is unbelievable, and he's going to, for 30 minutes, talk about wheelchair tennis, and then we have Alex Pop Moldovan later, and Andrew's going to introduce him after Harlan's presentation. So, Harlan, welcome. Thank you for being here, and I'm going to let you speak a little bit, and you just let me know when you're ready to for me to play the video. Okay.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. This portion of the conference will be about playing from a wheelchair. Something that I started doing at the age of 34 back in 2001. Had never played before. So tennis really helped me in many, many ways. And so I'm very fortunate that back then it helped me realize my purpose. And that is to use tennis as the tool to add value and fun and a great experience to others. And the beauty of it, to me, is how integrated it is. If we were going to play basketball and you're on your feet and I'm sitting in a chair, you would probably block my shot all the time. And eventually I'd get sick of that and I'd run over your feet, that kind of thing. But it's hard to make that integrated and play together unless we're all in a chair. But with tennis, we can play together, whether you're in a chair or running or what have you. And you'll hear from other people who have integrated it, like with the Special Olympics, part of the adaptive portion of this. So it's great that you can take tennis, you can play with your family, whether you're in a chair or not. You can play with family, friends, local leagues, USTA events, that even USTA events where it's not just you're running or rolling, you can play run roll. You can compete together. And I also compete in leagues where it's doubles, and I'm the only one in a wheelchair. So that's the beauty of tennis, and it has been so wonderful to me, and I'm just thrilled to be able to be here today to give to you what's made a difference in my world. So with that being said, I've prepared about a 12-minute video to kind of go over very quickly some intricacies of playing in a chair. It's tennis from a chair. So I hope you enjoy it.
Sorry, guys. Are we having some? Could you guys hear that?
Not very well.
All right, hold on one second. Let me try something else.
Just in the meantime, as Jason works on that, Harlan, I'll just ask you a couple of questions if you don't mind. What are some of your favorite memories since you got involved in wheelchair tennis?
Well, gosh, that is a great question. There's great memories on a personal level, as far as like doing exhibitions, in front of a few thousand people, even run roll exhibitions and sitting in press conferences like where James Blake and the Bryan brothers and the Jensen brothers and Sam Query and all of us were together. And it was very interesting sitting in that press conference because me and the other guy in a chair, we actually were asked a couple of questions. You have all these famous people there, and we were part of it. But that really is on a personal level. But I will tell you, the things that mean the most to me are on the programming side and instructing and programming, where you're able to come in contact with other people, with and without disabilities, who might be struggling or going through certain things, and they just want to try tennis, and to be able to see them grow and develop, people with disabilities able to come to terms with what's going on with them. Same thing happened to me. And so to me, that is the best memories of the impact that tennis has, and it's a ripple effect. Someone came to me, gave it to me, and to be able to offer that to other people and it give them a different perspective on life. There's no award that you can get for that. That is the award, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. That's awesome. And I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more later, but I think Jason is ready with with your presentation.
Yes, let's give it a try again. Thank you, guys.
Being here and being a part of this.
How's that? Is that better?
Thank you for having me. I have been a tennis player since '01.
Yes.
Playing in a chair. I'd never played before. I've been a tennis player, and then in '04 became a PTR instructor, and a few years later a clinician, and actually am the clinician for the instructing wheelchair tennis course that will give a little more or a lot more in depth than what we're going to cover today. But tennis has been absolutely amazing, and I'm happy to share this with you. So jumping right into it, or rolling into it in my case, we want to talk about, well, what is tennis? Let's not worry about the chair for a minute or focus on the chair. Let's just think about tennis. Has tennis stayed the same? I heard some history that perhaps this started with Henry VIII, and back then they used their hands to play. Well, of course, look what we're using now, and different size courts and everything. So it definitely has changed over the course of time. And the thing about it also is that whether you're in a chair or running, you play differently. Everyone plays a little differently. Yes, there are similar or basic mechanics that we use for forehand, backhand, and all of that, but does Andy Roddick serve like Andre Agassi, or does Andy Roddick return to serve like Andre Agassi? The answer is no. We all have different ability levels, different athleticism, and our personalities come into play with tennis as well. So it definitely is a little different for everyone, although it's basically the same. And so tennis has not stayed the same forever. It's definitely very dynamic. And so in '74, it became dynamic when Brad Parks came on and started using a wheelchair, and he wanted to play tennis. So the way he worked on it and adapted things to it was the main thing was 2 bounces of the tennis ball. And the reason for that is lack of lateral movement. This is how I would have to laterally move, and that is impossible. So it even advanced and became adapted for people with physical disabilities who would use a wheelchair. So I like to call everything tennis. I just do it from a chair. So doing it from a chair, I mentioned a minute ago, there is not lateral movement. I cannot jump sideways to get to the tennis ball. So what do I do? Because now, just like your other running players, some are faster than others, some have more athletic ability, so you're constantly adapting it, if you will, to their abilities and their ability to move as well. So with doing it in a wheelchair, we have to think about, well, how will I move getting to the ball and after point of contact? And the way that you do that is, first of all, where do I need to begin? And you begin with you and everyone as instructors, we say a recovery point. Hit the ball, recover, hit, recover. Well, where do I recover for wheelchair tennis in a wheelchair? And that recovery point is called the hub. And typically the hub, if you're coming with me, the hub is behind the baseline. So here I am, a few feet behind the baseline. Definitely for beginners, this is where you want them to be because they're not moving as well, they're not recovering, and you want them to be back a little bit. Over time, the hub will change, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I'm here at the hub, and what I want to do in wheelchair tennis, the movement pattern is the letter V. So you're moving in angles instead of forward or laterally. So I'm going to come at an angle this side of the feet, and when I make contact with the ball, this is my backhand, of course, I'm going to rotate forehand or backhand to the non-racket side. So I'm going to hit and turn, and I'm back to the hub. Here's what it will look like. Hit and turn. Okay? So when I come at that angle and make contact with the ball, what I want to do is hit and turn, get out of that turn. So I'm going to hit and immediately drop my racket, push out of that turn, and come back. So it's hit, drop the racket, get out of the turn. And then what I'm doing along with that, immediately when I hit and turn, where my head turns, my body and chair want to follow. So I need to turn my head, look at the hub where I'm going to recover. Now, I've looked at the hub, but I'm not looking at my opponent. So what I need to do is hit, look at the hub. When I begin pushing, turn my head and look across at my opponent. So it's hit, look, and push. Back to the hug. Okay, this is the V pattern. When you're instructing, this would be like a hug drill. You're hitting and back to the hug, hitting, back to the hug. Okay, so that's the basic mobility pattern for using a wheelchair, because I cannot hit and go laterally. When I go at an angle, I can look over my shoulder to look at my opponent. And as you teach more, what you'll be doing, like with your other students, is teaching them to hit the ball according to how they move. What you're really trying to do is teach movement and balance and execution. Tennis. Move, be balanced so that you can execute the shot. And you're going to come across different people with varying disabilities that is important for you to know, and you'll see their limitations, but your task is to develop what they do have. And if I have no use of my core due to I can't use my stomach muscles, my abs, you're not going to challenge me to reach and contact as high as I can reach and pronate. I'm going to be off balance. So you're going to make an adjustment with me. It might be a contact point here, which goes from continental and turns a little. It could be a little, it could be a lot. But if that works for me based on my abilities, that's our job as instructors, is to locate those abilities and develop them like you would any tennis player. Again, John might be as slow as Christmas or molasses. Are you going to go, come on, go, 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 go? You should be coaching him for his shot selection to give him the best opportunity to get back and be balanced and execute the next shot. That is our task. And so over time, when you learn the mobility part of this, then the shot production goes right along with it, that gives them the opportunity to get back, recover, back at the hub, and to be balanced for the next shot. And one thing I will add is that your hub can change, and it's based on the shot that you make. If I hit a really hard forehand, especially right at my opponent, how much time do I have to recover? My hub might be up here somewhere. So what we're trying to do is develop strategy and shot selection that gives them the best opportunity to recover. Okay, so those are the main points of the mobility part of it. And just knowing your players, it would not hurt to research various disabilities or diagnosis to know what the common things, like if they have spina bifida, would you be using latex TheraBands for training? Probably not, because typically, not everyone, but a lot of people with spina bifida have latex allergies. So why not just in the beginning, if you're going to use things like that, go ahead and invest in non-latex products. And so those kind of things would be very helpful to know the similarities, but also what you need to do when learning the similarities is also realize we're all individuals. Running or rolling, we all have different abilities. And so our job, once again, is to, yes, we may identify what they cannot do very well, but we then need to focus on what they do very well, and of course, develop their game accordingly. So I have only talked about tennis. Other than the difference in the mobility pattern, everything else is exactly the same. You may adjust the contact point a little if they can't use their abs to back a little, because you want them to be what? Balanced. So balance is the key so that we can execute the way that we need to in order to win the point. So this is just tennis. Thank you very much for having me. Enjoy the rest of the day.
All right, that was fantastic. Thank you so much for doing that video, Harold. We have some questions from the audience here, and folks, please feel free to jump on in and ask some questions. But one of the pressing questions that we have is, does a facility, Harold, need to make any adapt changes or any changes to the actual facility?
No, the court size is the same. All the dimensions are the same. It's all, as if you were playing, any of you playing. I mean, as far as the only adaptation I could think of is making sure they're able to get to the court. Do you have a step up onto the court? Do you need a little aluminum ramp there? Things like that. So really, one of our biggest barriers is access. But once you're on the court, no. And furthermore, that leads into a question, well, do I need a tennis chair or a sports chair to do this? You really want one, but I would not stop someone from trying it. Example, if someone showed up to your court in dress shoes or non-tennis shoes, would you tell them, well, no, I can't do anything for you? You wouldn't. You would at least put a racket in their hand and toss a ball right to them and let them at least try it. So they could still do it from their what we call everyday chair. They could. They will not be able to turn as well and move as well. But let's get them introduced to it. And so really there are no special adaptations. What I would do, though, is use the green dot ball. A lot of people, I know that, with junior tennis and stuff, we'll go from the red to the orange to the green. Red and orange do not bounce high enough for the wheelchair. Like I alluded to in the video, when you have lack of abs and you can't lean over and come back up, spring back up, if that ball's really low and you're trying to reach down for it, that's not going to be productive for you. So I start them off with the green dot ball with the wheelchair. That would probably be about the only adaptation I could think of.
Right. Harlan, for someone who's attending this had a question that I think is an important one. For the coaches out there who are looking to build a program, and maybe some of the wheelchair tennis players who they bring into their program are new to it and they're first trying to learn, how long would you recommend the lessons should be? Is that a difficulty sometimes? What have you found from your experience?
As far as shortening the lesson, you might do that in the beginning, but I will tell you that probably your first couple of lessons should only be about mobility. You may not even incorporate a tennis ball. It should be about how to move and doing fun things like, are all of you familiar with the game Sharks and Minnows? Did you play this in the pool in the summer? And well, you can play this same kind of game after you've taught them how to hold the racket, which I didn't cover in the video. But once you teach them how to hold the racket to push, then you play Sharks and Minnows where they're trying to tag, the sharks tagging them, the minnows with the racket. So you're doing fun games where they're not thinking, oh, I'm practicing, but they really are. But you can adjust the time or the length of the lesson based on who you're working with. If it's little bitty kids, of course, that's going to be shorter. And you can shorten it that way. And as far as singles or doubles, I think what I would be concentrating on, again, mobility, and then incorporating the ball to where they start learning to, rally a little bit. And then, you could do doubles, introduce them to some doubles where it's less court that they're covering. And again, the emphasis I want to make here, it's based on ability. You're going to have some who may not advance so quick, and others, they're boom, boom, boom. They pick it up and they just roll with it. And so just adjust your plan. And the thing is, we have to think outside the chair. Yes, the mobility part is the chair, but let's not let the chair mess us up and be like, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? Take what you've been doing and be an observer and just implement that into what you would do with people in chairs.
Fantastic. And we're going to be talking a little bit later more about the business side of it, how to actually kind of think about putting a program or a class together. And aside from the actual on-court portion, I think how to really get this, and that's what the panel is going to talk about later, how to get it from concept to realization, how to actually put it together. And we got a fantastic panel for that ahead. Andrew, you want to introduce Alex next?
Sure. And I do see a lot of people asking questions. We're going to try to get to as many as we can later during the panel portion. Yeah. But our next panelist today is someone who I actually first met years ago when he beat me quite badly at beach tennis. His name is Alex Pop Moldovan. And Alex has a vast array of experience in the sport. He's worked with players and supervised programs for people of all ages, all skills. He's worked with an Olympic doubles silver medalist, Florin Mergea, who also made the ATP Finals Championship match 5 years ago. He's worked with 10 and under kids. He's worked with quite a number of people and emphasized all parts of the game. But why he's here today is because he's a love-serving autism coach and a member of the USPTA's Adaptive Tennis Committee. And he's just going to speak about, for those looking to work with autism programs, launch autism programs, what he's found doing those, how you do them, so on and so forth. So without further ado, here's Alex. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, guys. Hello, everyone. I'm sorry for that beach tennis match, Andrew. I'm sorry. I apologize for that beating. Can you all hear me now?
Yep, we could hear you, Alex.
Yeah. So my name is Alex Pop Moldovan. I'm from Romania, living in the States since 2013. And I'm a very, very lucky guy that I was able to meet Lisa Polisi Lacroix in Florida. And she introduced me to her foundation, and I was able to become a love-serving autism coach. I just want to start with an apologize because I couldn't share my presentation through my screen, so I'm going to ask Jason just to move up to the next page. He's going to go through my presentation. So I'm going to just tell you a little story about me, how I got involved in her foundation, in her program. So we met in Florida. She just asked me if I want to join one of her classes. And to be honest with you, I was pretty anxious, I was kind of scared of not doing the right thing with the kids. And I don't know, actually was not ready to do it. but she explained to me the steps and what I achieved after and how I feel now when I just I'm able to share and teach these kids. It's amazing. So what I just want to tell you about, like, I'm fulfilled. So if one of my students is winning a tennis match, or one of my pro athletes are winning a match, you're successful, you feel happy, everything is fine. But once I was able to complete the first practice with the kids from her foundation in Florida, and see that joy on their face, and see them being so happy being on the court and running and playing and just opening up to me and trying to establish like connections, and was fulfilled. I was like fulfilled, that feeling of like you give but you don't expect anything back. That smile for me and that happiness just made my day. And since that day, that was like 3 years ago, I'm trying to stay as active as I can, and I try to help the kids in the foundation just to keep going. Also during the COVID break, recently I moved to New York, but I'm still connected to our foundation, and we did like Zoom classes in the weekends, and we keep doing that now. So we try to keep it going and just keep them happy and keep they just doing sport and be active. Now, as we all know, the tennis is for everybody, and doesn't matter the physical ability, the intellectual abilities, the race, the religion, anything. So it's an everybody sport, the way I call it, and we achieve so many things through this sport. So that's why I'm happy that I'm part of the foundation. I'm happy that I'm here with you today, and I can share from my own experience. A quick briefing on my presentation. I'm going to have some slides about what it means to be, what it means the adaptive community. I have like 4 main categories of populations with the disabilities that I'm going to talk about quick. I'm going to present you a little bit our direction, and with the foundation, the life skills that we share, everything we do in the foundation. And I'm going to go through the lessons that we do with the red ball and orange ball, green dot, and also like a Zoom advanced class that I did during the COVID break. And after that, I'm going to just have some videos that I want to show you with some of the drills that we did at home. And after that, I'm a very like practical guy, and I like to communicate with all of you. And I feel better I cannot see you now and just invite you with me on the court and share from my experience. But I'll try my best just to answer to your questions and be very active, be proactive. Okay, Jason, can you please move to the next slide? Thank you. So now I'm going to define the terms adaptive and inclusion. These 2 terms are very important for our program. What it means adaptive, it refers to modifying or adapting an activity to meet the needs of an individual with special needs. For example, like in love-serving autism, everything we do, we adapt, and we implement communication visuals for program participants who are nonverbal to engage in tennis classes. So it's some of them you'll see, they might not be able to connect fast enough. Some of them are unable to see more. So we need to be able to provide that to them. Like we have some boards with all kind of stretching moves or all kind of like communication things on it. So we need to adapt the class to their needs and just to be able to be there with them, for them, and just exemplify all the time. And everything we do, the format of the class, the intensity of the practice, the communication level, it's different. We're going to see in the next slides. Now, what it means inclusion refers to offering the same activities to everyone while providing support and services to accommodate people's differences. For example, inclusive organization actively reach out to people with disabilities and seek to understand and appreciate their differences while fostering a sense of example. So, for example, a kid that's gonna join an after-school junior program at your club or at communities how you call it, community facility, or like so we try to do this and just to try to teach the kids tennis by including them in programs with other kids and just make them feel like they are part of the society and they just can do everything we do. Can we please move on to the next slide? Now, the way I said, like USTA, recognized 4 main categories of population conditions. The first one is developmental conditions or disabilities. Second one is physical conditions or disabilities. And it's another one, emotional or physiatric conditions or disabilities or environmental situation or conditions. While each of these sets of the adaptive community may share characteristics, you'll see, it's also important to understand that each of these communities will have specific needs to be addressed in different teaching techniques that will produce better outcome. But what's the main idea? It's important to understand that each of these groups wants to have fun, to be engaged, and to be treated with respect. For reaching out to these communities, it represents, a great opportunity for us to grow the sport. As you all know, tennis is not an easy sport to play. Like till recently, when we developed the tennis 10 under program with smaller courts, smaller rackets, different type of balls, was not an easy sport to play. And we all know. Now it's becoming easy because we have so many tools. We have so much knowledge now. We just develop so many amazing tennis programs for tennis 10 under, and we can adapt everything for people with special needs. So now tennis, it's playable for everybody now, and it's a life sport. At the end of the day, tennis is a life sport, and we want to share that with these kids and with these individuals. Now, of course, that we're gonna just get into some barriers to adaptive community, like lack of education, or maybe you're gonna say I'm not ready enough, or I don't have anything to learn. That's why we're doing this Zoom meetings, just to be able to teach you what to do and just to share. Now we're working on a manual for adaptive tennis. Maybe there are not enough courts in some communities. They don't have enough, like tools, balls, rackets. For sure, USTA and USPTA, we're helping. We're gonna help people who wants to start like something like this, a program with all kind of tools. I'm gonna let that for Jason talk, or Lisa after that. But we have to be open. It's not gonna be easy, for sure. We got to be open. We got to connect with people that already doing it. And Lisa she's did an amazing job with her foundation. She can share with you the steps that you got to go through, and don't hesitate to reach us. Now, let me go back, please, to the first category, like developmental condition or disabilities. So now we're referring on people with intellectual disabilities, with Down syndrome, epilepsy, cerebral palsy, autism spectrum disorder, that I'm going to present. My presentation is about today. What is important, like for them to see, you gotta shadow, the way I call it. You gotta show them what to do. So it's important to demo the activities, keep the verbal instruction to minimum, because their focus is not going to be long. So you gotta just be at the point, show them, tell them quick, and just start the drill. Establish a routine. They like routines. Utilize constant repetition, shadow drills. Praise students often. It's so important for them to feel that they do the right thing, and they just being like, they being seen by the people around them, by the volunteers, by the person that's in charge of the program. They need to be like praised with often, and we need just to keep the line short and feed students multiple ball to help them gain success. And the most important part you'll see on all these slides that I talk about the categories, I'm going to say the same thing. Use a kind, friendly, and pleasant tone of the voice. This is very, very important. The way we communicate with them, the way we smile, the way we just keep them all the time happy, no matter what's happening on the court. Now, the second category, it's called, Jason, can you please move the slide? It's a physical conditions or disabilities that refers to birth defects, aging, diabetes, hearing and visual impairments, loss of limb, muscular dystrophy, traumatic brain injuries. Now, gotta be see. That's what I'm saying. It's a little bit different. This category, it's a little bit different. We gotta be careful to limit the anaerobic exercises, but ensure to stretch. Use lightweight rackets and balls, soft feeds, and smaller courts. give them more time to rest, speak slowly in them all the activities, try to keep the student and ratio, because of the movement, we got to keep the ratio small, mentor parents or guardian while having them involved. And the same thing, like the first slide, uses kind, friendly, and pleasant tone of the voice. What we do with our programs, we are just instructing the parents. Parents are active during the classes. Parents are allowed to go on the court, are allowed to be around the kid, because they need to feel protected. They need to feel like, you know, they see the same person that they see every day at home, a parent, yeah, or a mentor. Like, you just gotta be, or a guardian. We need to be sure that they feel comfortable there and they don't feel like an environment that they don't know anybody. Now, if we move to the third category, Jason, thank you. It's emotional or physiatric conditions or disabilities. On this one, we're talking about problems with consumer of mental health services. And I'm gonna repeat myself again. Use a kind and friendly, pleasant tone of your voice. Use words and praise. Maintain control and structure. Be flexible about participation. Some may need intermittent breaks. It's important for you to know, again, we cannot treat them and we cannot have the same intensity like we have on a regular tennis practice with a kid that's playing tournaments, or like, you know, the focus span is small. We need to be ready to adapt and change the drill if something's not working. Make them feel successful with everything they do and give them breaks. Let them rest. Don't push them too much. Now, the last category that I'm going to talk about, Jason, thank you. It's environmental situations or condition. I'm sorry for my accent. So we need to reward students with praise and leadership roles. We got to use a kind, friendly, and pleasant tone of our voice. Got to use visual scheduling, communication visuals to announce language skills and provide consistency for routines. Use targets during tennis class or virtual reinforcements. Teach tennis scoring basic rules. Keep the class motivated, moving, and engaged by switching drills, and provide competition. Now, what we usually do, what we use at Love Serving Autism classes with boards, with stretching moves, with boards, with communication and visual, signs, gestures, wherever. So they need to see. It's very important for them to see and to, because some of them, it's hard for them to communicate to us. Now we're going to move to the next slide. Thank you. Now I'm going to just define the autism spectrum disorder. So I'm going to go to my main part of my presentation. So it's a neurodevelopmental disorder that impairs a child's ability to communicate and interact with others. That's why we're talking before about like try to talk, just help them to communicate, be friendly. You need to create a friendly environment, help them to interact. That's what we try to do through tennis. That's a very social game, but they need to feel comfortable. That's why they need the parents next to them. That's why we need them to trust us and earn their trust and be nice and kind all the time on a practice. The ASD criteria, it's persistent deficits in social communication and social interaction across multiple contexts, social reciprocity, nonverbal communication, maintaining relationships. Restricted and repetitive patterns of behavior, interests or activities, repetitive movements, speech patterns, strict adherence to routines, preservative interest, sensory input. The symptoms prevent in early development. I'm not going to go through how you recognize a kid that has autism spectrum disorder. That's like, you know, I'm just not going to go through that. I'm going to stay strict to what we do and how we train them. Jason, can you please move to the next slide? Main question, why? Why tennis for individual with autism spectrum disorders? Because we consider that tennis, it's a great sport and it can help them through life. And the skills that they learn in tennis may carry over into school, home, community environments. It's a social sport. It's developing their gross motor skills, the fine motor skills. It's a repetitive sport. It's a repetitive activity. It's all about motor planning. It's all combining running with hitting. It's about hand-eye coordination. It's a visual sport. You track an object that's moving. If we got to use cones, we use targets, we use like patterns on a cone, we use like all kind of like boards, as I told you, with special movements. We're shadowing all the activities. The kids are able to communicate. I'm gonna go back to my experience with Lisa. All of them, they're friends. All of them. I'm gonna tell you at the end, the experience for the US Open last year was amazing. They're like a team. It's easy for them. They feel way more comfortable being with friends on a court, and tennis gives them that. So for us, it's fulfilling. It's an amazing feeling. Jason, can we move to the next one, please? Our pathway at Love Serve with Autism, the tennis pathway is like the student is able to participate by trying out the program. It's like if you have to try something to see if you like it. We're like happy that they try. We want to bring them in. We want to that's why we're doing this presentation, trying to open up the eyes and ears to everybody, and just to bring as many kids as possible with autism disorder to join tennis and be part of our clubs, be part of our like community, and make them feel like home. It's a structured program where the student is learning tennis skills. It's just developing great as a person in a healthy living. We're talking about hand-eye coordination, racket handling, basic strokes. As I said before, you just combine footwork with stroke production. You just implement like hand-eye coordination. You do like cardio tennis. So it's amazing for their physical development also. They learn a component of the game. Remember, we defined the word inclusion. They feel included. They are part of the community. They're part of us. And the student is beginning the process of playing the game. So the three main important: rally the balls, instructional games, last single doubles. As you see, like I'm important for you to see this. Like the three main important parts of this slide is like trying out the tennis program, learning tennis skills, and playing the game. Like I remember I used to be part of the Romanian Tennis Federation for Tennis 10 and Under, and I participated on a play and stay campaign in Europe with our program, and it was amazing. I'm not sure if you remember the play and stay program. The main concern of that was that people are trying tennis and it's too hard and they just don't come back. So that's why the campaign was called Play and Stay, and that's why we developed that system of with smaller court, smaller racket, make an easier sport for us to play. So it's important for you to understand that if we bring them in and they need to come in and see what we do, and if they like it, they're going to come back. And that's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you, Jason. We share, like, we just believe in life skills, the core values. Like, that's what we share our foundation. On every practice we organize and we do, we focus on each of these 6 values: the effort, listening, respect, responsibility, sportsmanship, and teamwork. As you see on that picture that I attached to the slide, that was last year at US Open. We were lucky to get invited, and this, as I call it, our crew from Florida flew with their parents, and they had like an open play lesson on court 17 in Flushing Meadows. It was amazing. Believe me, to be honest with you, was amazing, and they were so happy. They were like a team coming together, getting dressed the same. Was awesome. Now, what I want to say, in every practice we do, we focus on one important word. If today we focus on effort, next day we focus on listening, then respect, responsibility, sportsmanship, and teamwork. You can use these words just to make them aware and just define them to them and make them believe in them and understand them. They're going to use them in life. They need to feel that they can, how can I say, manage or these values and be part of their life, because this is what makes us being like amazing human beings. A short example, first event with Lisa in Florida, we had like 6 courts, and on each court we will organize a different game that represent each of these core values. On one court was like we're focusing on effort listening, and everybody was switching around in a few minutes and going through all, as I call it, we call it the stations. It was amazing. Thank you, Jason. Our main goal, it's all the skills learned during tennis lessons transferred to additional environments, school, home, community. That's exactly what I said before. It's very, very important to teach them the right values and just to help them feel comfortable in our community. It's our community, all of us. Thank you, Jason. Now I'm gonna go straight to the lessons. The first one, it's a lesson for kids with red and orange ball class. Our main goal, I told you, is just for them to feel, don't forget this, for them to feel comfortable, enjoy, and have fun. Now, we're structuring our lessons. We have some important parts of our lessons. The first part, because we need them to be able to interact and communicate, it's greetings. As you see, the way we wrote it over there, it's like greetings. Each student says his name and greets the group for 5 minutes. We need them to feel like have the confidence to speak, to shake hands and meet other people, and be open to speak and communicate. Now we focus on stretching. That we have a stretching poster, the way I say visual boards. They need to see what they do. We always need to just show them the exercise and the drill. Then we go to the warm-up. This is the first important part: greetings, stretching, and warm-up. After that, as I said, give them water breaks, let them rest. Don't push them too hard. We don't want them to feel uncomfortable playing tennis and get too tired. Then it's an important part. Second part that's important, it's hand-eye coordination rules. That's on every practice we do. We're starting with that. A few examples that we just add here. We have here on a screen at rolling, for example, or ice hockey. They just pass the ball back and forth with the racket on the floor. I put it with red over here. Always use the color poly spots for station and standing in line. Just be aware the signals. Where do you set them up on the court? They need to see. They need to know exactly where to be, what to do, where to be located on a court. That's very important. As you do, probably you do the same thing with tennis and under kids. You always try to put them in a certain spots because you want to keep them also safe, not to hit each other, not to hurt each other. With the rackets, with the ball. It's very important not to run over the other one. So that's important. Use a lot of colors, a lot of dots, and make it interesting. Yeah. Now with walking the dog, walking the ball on the floor, bounce down and up, the tossing, catching with the ball, and and bean bags. Another thing that you can add and it work and it's so funny, balloons with air. Like just inflate some balloons, let them keep them in the air, pass it to each other. It's because it's a slow balloon, moves slow up and slow down. They have plenty of time to just be able to make the contact and they feel successful. Everything we do, we need them to feel successful with the drill. Now, the next part of our practice is the stroke production. The forehand. This slide we have the forehand. We're starting with forehand volleys, three reps each, and you rotate, go to the line. The backhand volleys, then we drink again, give them time to rest. After that, we're gonna just do the forehands, the bounce and hit drill, the service line, and then we do the backhands, and we're gonna drink again. So as you see, like everything is 5 minutes. We're gonna keep it like, not too long, not too short. They need to have enough reps just to be able to develop that skill, but not too long. After 5-10 minutes, we're just gonna have a little break. After that, the last part of our practice, it's like we have tennis grouping games, king of the court or jail for 10 minutes, or other different games. You can do offense, defense. You can do like, ping pong, I call it. It just depending on the level, depending on how they can be able to play the game. And then the last part that's very, very important, group cheer and cleanup. They need to be responsible that if they use a tool, if they do something at home or they do something in school, they need to put things in place after they use them. So we try to push them towards that. Just be, take care of your stuff, clean up after you just used it. And of course, the group cheer. So keep going, keep focusing on socializing, interacting. Now, as I wrote it down with red, it's you got to please assess the level of your student. You can make this, for example, lesson plan more complicated or less complicated depending on the level of the kids that are on your court. So it's up to you how you just make it harder. We need to adapt. Our one of our main qualities of a tennis pro, it's adaptability. We need to adapt to what we have. If you have a lesson plan in your head and your student cannot do that, what is too easy for him, what is too hard for, we got to adapt quick. If we are able to adapt quick, we're going to make a successful lesson. If not, it's not going to be so easy to go through it. Thank you, Jason. Now I'm going to move to the next slide of a lesson. It's called the green dot class. As you see, the main parts are the same. The greetings, stretching, warm up is the same. Hand-eye coordination and production, stroke production, and at the end, because we are a little bit more advanced here, we serve for 5. We keep the score like regular game. We try to do the inclusion, playing tournaments, playing matches, keep the regular score, learn new stuff, and then the group chat and the cleanup. Sorry, I got to go a little bit quicker through the presentation. I know it's a little bit late. Now, can we move forward, please, Jason? Now, the last class that I'm going to present, it's a Zoom advanced class that I did during the COVID break. Mostly of what I put in here, I just add some new drills and rallies that I'm going to show you at the end of my presentation with some videos. Same focus, the greetings, the stretching, and the warm-up. The hand-eye coordination, that's on the bottom left. The stroke production. And I introduced on this one because there was a Zoom it was advanced class. I introduced the physical conditioning. I'm a guy that when everything I train, I feel like if you are developed physically pretty well, you're just doing a little bit of physical activity, like, push-ups, some sit-ups, some core, some back and abs, you're going to feel more comfortable playing tennis, and you're going to be like playing better, So I try to add that to them. They're very happy to do these drills. That was like, you can add that at the end of the practice if the kids can handle it. Thank you, Jason. Now, I just add you like some pictures from my experience with Lisa's foundation and with our foundation, Love Serving Autism. On the first left corner, it's our event at the Palm Beach Community Center. What I can say that I can praise that I can say thank you to the Palm Beach Gardens, because they did an amazing job. I'm going to tell you a quick story now. We're supposed to have an event outdoor at the Palm Beach Garden Tennis Center, and it started to pour right after we set up the courts. We have like 40 kids waiting in the rain. We couldn't play that. It was like, everything was on the water. Lisa made a call, we tried to find a court indoor. The community center opened up one of their gyms in 30 minutes, and we were able to get in there and organize the event indoor. So that's why I want to just push this ahead. We need to be a team. We got to be able to come to talk and be able to help each other with this project. It's amazing. Now, on the top right is the Del Rey Open on every year. Love Serving Autism. They have an open class at Del Rey Open tournament. Down middle, it's a sweet kid. That was so funny. That was the US Open experience that we had. And on the right side, if you see, it's me. I'm a beach tennis player, as Andrew said, and as I call it, my team, my crew from Palm Beach. It's Palm Beach Beach Tennis. I organized actually an adaptive tennis class on the beach tennis court in Del Rey. To be honest with you, it was amazing. The kids were so happy. Of course, everything was adapted to them. Beach tennis, as you know, is not an easy sport to play, same thing like tennis, but we adapted to their abilities, to their needs. It was awesome. And the best part of that was the running quick into the ocean and just jump in the water. That was the best part. Okay, thank you, Jason. Now, I'm part of the USPTA adaptive task force, and our mission, it's simple. The mission of the USPTA National Adaptive Tennis Task Force is to educate and train USPTA tennis professional, USTA staff and volunteers with a certification in teaching adaptive tennis, and to provide a specialized adaptive tennis platform for the diverse and special needs population to positively benefit their lives. As I was talking before, I know it's not easy to start a program like this. I know that's why we're trying to help everybody who wants to be certified. That's what we're working on now. We're just working on a new coach's curriculum for adaptive tennis. That's going to help tremendously. Once we're going to be released from this, COVID, as I call it, prison, we're going to be able to travel, to have all kind of like demonstration lessons, and to be able to teach you all and help you all to be part of our program and just get more kids involved in it. Our strategy priority number one is to attract, engage, and retain new generations of diverse tennis participants. Thank you, Jason. On the next slide, if you can press on the first YouTube channel, that's our Love Serving Autism channel. If you can just scroll down a little bit, that's all. Now, just if you see like we have videos with our event, like look at that exclusive virtual tennis. That was an amazing event in Florida. With the group lessons with me and my partner, my friend Alex. The Saturday virtual class, the Sunday, it's Lisa over there. We also had like a sport psychology webinar with Nicole Erickson. We want to thank her for that. And as you can see, look at where Jason pressed, you can see the visual boards, you can see the word respect, that the life skills, the core values that we're talking about. So you can find on that channel everything we do, and you can just learn from it. And thank you, Jason. The second part that I just pressed on, it's the second link that's on the page. It's a link with me, with Alex, my partner. In that day, we had like, let's go a little bit more further. That's Lisa talking to the kids. That are some of our kids doing the stretching drill, a little bit more in the middle of around like, exactly. You can stop it right there if you can, please, Jason. As you see now, the participants. On top, it's Alex, my partner, and I'm on the right side. The way we were shadowing, we just trying to, teach them the drills and look at the activity. Look how happy the kids are. Look like they're just so engaged, all of them. Look at that. That's what I'm saying. This is fulfillment. That's a feeling that you have after you finish a class. It's amazing, and we're so lucky to be able to be part of this, and we're so thankful to have this opportunity. Thank you, Jason. Now on the next screen, I'm gonna have 4 videos. Jason, if you want to go through those, please, with 4 drills that I just I just made for the kids during the COVID break. That 4 easy drills. It's just a minute of video. There are 4 videos. I'm not gonna keep you too long with it. Should I turn off my volume?
Entirely up to you.
Today, it's called self.
Jason, you just have to unmute yourself so we could hear the volume.
Bounce and catch. So I bounce and I catch. I bounce and I catch. I bounce and I catch. Or I can punch it to the racket. I can bounce it to the racket and catch it. Now the variation we can add as a volley and catch. So I'm going to volley it and catch it. I'm going to volley it and catch it. Volley it and catch it. Volley it and catch it. You can do it as a coordination drill. You can do as many reps as you want, and also you can move side to side or back and forth doing the same drill. Good luck and have some fun. Hello, my name is Alex Palmolovan. I'm the Director of High Performance and Pickleball at Glenhead Racket Club in Long Island, New York, and Love Serving Autism Coach. I'm going to present you today a fun drill. It's called Bounce Tap the Pyramid. So what are we going to do? So I'm going to show you the first part of the drill. First, we're going to bounce the ball, and after we're going to tap the ball.
So we're focusing on controlling the ball, bouncing it to the ground and tapping it out. We're gonna use both sides of the racket, and we're gonna just also like improve the handling of the racket. So the way it's gonna work, we're gonna bounce and tap one, then then 2 times, then 3 times, then 4 times, 5 times, and we're gonna go down after that from 5 to 1. So it's gonna look like this. Bounce once, tap once. Bounce 2 times, tap 2 times. Bounce 3 times, tap 3 times. Bounce 4 times, and tap 4 times. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're gonna go down to 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Of course, you can move when you do this. You can make it harder if you move and you go sideways. 1, 2, and
variation, movement, adding movement.
you can bounce it. You can do it from 1 to 10 and going down. You can move around. It's a fun drill. You can make it harder and enjoy and have fun. Hello, my name is Alex Moldovan. I'm the Director of High Performance and Pickleball at Glenhead Racket Club, New York, and a love serving autism coach. Today I'll present you a drill called Beat the Wall or Beat the Garage Door. In my case, you're just going to need a gym ball, a basketball or a soccer ball, and you're just going to play out the point. We're going to serve, we're going to hit a point, we're going to hit backhands, we're going to hit volleys. Now the point is, focus on the proper footwork for tennis, like the split step, focus on your U-turn, focus on the rotation of the core and rotation of the shoulder. So focus on your whole body and try to play out a very nice and interesting point. So let's play one point. That was the point. I hope that you will win. Good luck and have fun. Alex Moldovan. I'm the Director of High Performance and Pickleball at Glenhead Racket Club in New York, and a love serving autism coach. I'm going to present you a drill today with kick and catch. What are we going to use? We're going to use like a soccer ball, some tennis balls, and some cones to be able to catch the ball, or you can use a bucket for that too. Oh, why did I set up a cone next to me over there? Because after I'm going to kick the ball with my foot or catch the ball in a cone, I'm going to use side steps to run around the cone, split step, and get ready for the next shot. So let me show you the way it looks like. Kicking the ball now, and now letting it bounce and catching the ball. Now I'm going to kick the ball again. It's very good. It's a good exercise to improve the hand-eye coordination and also the foot-eye coordination. And split step and kick the ball. Now I'm going to catch the ball in the air as a volley. So good catch, Alex. And catch again. Okay, now I'm going to mix it up. So first I'm going to let the ball bounce and catch, and then I'm going to catch the tennis ball in the air. Of course, don't forget about kicking a soccer ball. And split step and kick. Split step and catch. And split step. Kick the soccer ball. And catch it. Okay, you can also move the cone on the other side and practice the left foot kick and the backhand side as a backhand or as a volley. Good luck and have fun.
Thank you, Jason.
Awesome.
I just want to finish with this. I'm gonna quote my son. He's 4, and he's a big fan of Peter Pan. And probably you all read the story. The way I say it is this way: you know, a little bit of magic spell from Tinkerbell, and a lot of positive thoughts, and you can fly. Please give these individuals wings to fly. Thank you.
That was fantastic. That was fantastic. Very, very powerful stuff, Alex. And I think your message and everything you're doing on court and the passion, I really hope everyone's seeing the passion that you have and how fulfilling everything is. For me, watching you, one of the key things that, I think is important that you also said is just how you treat everyone different. Like your Olympic players, you're going to treat them different than your high school juniors. Your high school juniors, you're going to teach them different than your U8, and having that variety in the way that you teach, I think that's fantastic.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you so much.
Andrew, you want to ask a question here? Let's see. We got a bunch of them, I'm sure.
Sure. Yeah, we did get a bunch of questions. One of them I think is interesting, and you sort of alluded to it, is how you have to talk to these students. And what would you do if you have a student with autism who you're meeting for the first time, or even if you're not, and they're maybe a bit shy, and how do you sort of address those situations to try to get them to feel comfortable with you?
So I can show you something. If you remember my second slide of the presentation, when I was telling that I was happy, that is a picture with me and a kid. I was new at the program, was my first time on the court, and I just invited his dad to be part of the program. And he was still not like, when I was getting close to them, because I was new in Lisa's foundation, he was not like, and to be honest, Andrew knows me from playing beach tennis. I'm bald and I have a beard and I look kind of mean, but I'm a super nice guy. But I don't look like, I'm not looking like, I'm not that beautiful. And what I did to connect with him, I turned my hat around. So he had the turn hat. If you just see that on the second slide, he has a Mickey Mouse hat like this. What I did the same thing with my hat. So I said, we're on the same team. Nobody else from here. We have hats turned the way I'd have it. So I tried to connect with them and just let the parent get involved in the program, because he needs to have a familiar figure next to him, and try to just feel him a little bit. Do something to make him happy, make him feel that you're his friend. You're part of his day.
I think that was great. And one of my questions was going to be, can you give us like an anecdote of how like you had a situation that you had to turn it around? And I think you literally had to turn your hat around and turn it into a fantastic experience. No, I think it's fantastic.
Hey, Jason, can I add something to that?
Yeah, please.
So in my research for my preparation, Alex, you're right on. Harlan, amazing. And the current research for autism spectrum disorder is how do we keep our kids actively engaged? And to do that, we need to connect with them right where they're at, and that's exactly what you did. I know we're in a COVID prison at the moment, but once all this lifts, everyone's going to get the tools and the tricks and all of that. But I think you can't get the heart of what comes from someone who wants to connect and adapt, whether it's the wheelchair program, whether it's children who have differences. I don't necessarily look at them as disabilities, but you met the child where they're at and included their family, because I think more than anything, having them feel that level of trust is key. And that doesn't come from words, actually less words, but it's a sense, and you've met him where he was at. And I think if we can just remember that, that's the only lesson plan that you really need to follow, is that you're meeting your kids where they're at. So,
and
you're completely right. Yeah, like 100%. You're right, 100%.
That's fantastic. And everyone, you just met Laura Finelli. She is one of our panelists. And this is kind of the message that we're trying to get through this panel and through these workshops, that this is possible. It's you guys, we've given you 2 presentations so far with some actual games and drills to do on court. You have resources from these folks to really ask them questions. It wasn't perfect the first time that they did these programs. And it's really what I hope you're seeing with this passion from everybody. Andrew, do we have another question for Alex, or should we just roll? Let's just roll right into the panel. I mean, it's already 12:20, so let's just keep this going. Guys, if you have any questions that are on here, please continue to add them into the chat box. We're going to move into our panel discussion here, and as I just mentioned, we talked quite a bit about actual games and drills to do on the court. And I've invited this fantastic panel here to actually talk a little bit more about the programming, how to start a class, how to start a program, how to find marketing, how to create marketing, how to do grant writing. We also have on this panel, we have two of the same presenters. We have Harlan Matthews on here, who we introduced earlier. We have Alex that's going to stay on. He's going to be talking with us a little bit more. But we also have on this panel, we have Lisa Pugliese Lacroix. Did I say it right?
Yes.
Very good. I apologize. I'm going to read from what you sent me because I don't want to get any of it wrong. Okay.
Oh, that's fine.
Lisa is a USPTA and PTR elite certified tennis professional and a speech language pathologist in the field of autism. For 18 years, Lisa has specialized in the evaluation and treatment of children and adults with autism spectrum disorders and developmental disabilities. A former collegiate tennis player at Duke University and University of Florida, followed by WTA tournaments, and Lisa enjoys combining her tennis experience and speech therapy background to teach the sport to children and adults with autism spectrum disorders. After working with children for 6 years as a program director for a national nonprofit for autism, Lisa was inspired to be able to develop her own nonprofit, Love Serving Autism, a 501c3 organization in January of 2017. In 2019, she was elected by the USTA National to join the Adaptive Tennis Training and Education Subcommittee to develop an adaptive tennis curriculum, and she is currently the chair for the 2020 USPTA National Adaptive Committee. So thank you, Lisa, for being with us. We're going to jump to you in one moment. I'm going to introduce the rest of the panelists, and then we'll let you take it away, okay?
Sure.
We have with us after Lisa, we have Laura Finelli. And Laura currently works as a pediatric registered nurse supervisor, nurse preceptor. Did I say that right? No, I didn't say that right. Oh, you're on mute.
Preceptor.
Preceptor, sorry. And bedside nurse at a pediatric post-acute care facility in Philadelphia, PA, which is one of the 6 facilities in the state of Pennsylvania. She provides highly skilled nursing care services with integrated multidisciplinary therapy services, PT, OT, and ST, for medically fragile patients from ages 0 to 21, mostly premature infants and children who require life-sustaining ventilator support. She is also in her 2nd year pursuing her 2nd master's degree at Old Dominion University to become a pediatric nurse practitioner. She previously worked in a pediatric acute home healthcare, level 1 pediatric trauma ED, and nearly 2 years on an adult step down until a level 2 stroke and trauma hospital. Prior to that, she obtained her BSN and RN license from the University of Texas at Houston, UT Health Science Center in 2015 after being the sole in-home caregiver for both her gravely ill parents who passed. She possesses a Master's of Arts in Education and with a middle childhood concentration with over 17 years of professional teaching, coaching, and instruction, plus tennis and other multi-sports. But what haven't you done?
Much.
And we have Andrew, you want to introduce Carla? Oh, there he is. Oh, you're on mute.
I'm doing great. So Carla is actually not on, but Carla, like I am, is a district president with USPTA Eastern with the New Jersey section. She's a neuro exercise trainer at Push to Walk, which is a specialized gym for people with spinal cord injuries, multiple sclerosis, who have suffered strokes, all those sorts of conditions. She graduated with a master's degree in exercise physiology from Northern Michigan. and is a certified exercise physiologist by the American College of Sports Medicine. But of course, as I mentioned, she's on the USPTA Eastern Board as a district president. She's USPTA certified professional as well. So she's very involved in tennis and especially adaptive tennis.
So we have this fantastic panel here, and what I think makes the most sense is we're going to have Lisa kick us off and talk a little bit about the business side of this, how to get it going, how to find partners, and I'm going to stop talking and let Lisa take over.
All right. Thank you, Jason. I just wanted to say thank you to USPTA Eastern, Alex and Laura and Harlan and Andrew, everyone. You guys are amazing. And thank you for this opportunity today. You know, I did start Love Serving Autism in 2017, and I really wanted to make a difference. Having grown up in tennis and played at a, competitive level, and kind of left the sport and returned and realized, I can connect to people and help them in a different way through the sport of tennis. And I love autism, so that's kind of how it all connected. So I wanted to share my screen today a bit about, how would you start an adaptive tennis program? I mean, you guys know I specialize in autism. But what I wanted to talk about today is, whether you are interested in working with children with autism or any type of intellectual disability, there's Special Olympics, there's all types of programs. I'm just sharing right now kind of like a contract that we created with USTA Florida, who we're adaptive partner with. And it goes to facilities kind of about, what we're looking for when we start a Love Serving Autism program. And first and foremost, as a USPTA certified professional, if you're interested in volunteering or opening a program, you really want to identify the location, first of all. So where do you want to host the class? Is it at a private club, a public park, or at a school? You can also reach out to an organization like myself. There are multiple not multiple autism, but there are multiple adaptive programs throughout the United States. USTA National has a list on their website on the adaptive page. So you could reach out to a local organization and say, hi, I'd like to get involved. What we recommend for number 2 is there must be, for instance, for our organization, someone trained and certified to teach the program. So if you're a USPTA pro, you don't have a lot of adaptive experience, that's fine. Someone like our organization, we could train you. We have a YouTube channel with online videos, so we can definitely get you trained. And then the best, like Alex said, the best experience is on court, because what you go through on court is obviously much different than what you would learn online. Number 3, we recommend that our program director or the person leading the class creates the USTA Nationals Net Generation approval process. There's a Safe Play, USTA Safe Play application that's an annual renewal. And from USTA, you'll also receive an equipment pack. I'm on the national committee right now for creating the red ball curriculum. That's what we're working on for adaptive tennis. We don't yet have an equipment pack, but hopefully we will in the next year or two. It'd be wonderful to have something like that to provide for adaptive programs. The next step, it's important wherever this facility is that they have some type of storage for equipment. I do have a few stories of, and you can ask my husband. I was recently married in March. He's a tennis pro, Kyle Lacroix, but I did have to get an SUV because I've been carting tennis equipment around. And then I started to realize maybe it's important I find, equipment storage at these facilities. So most of the schools have some type of space, whether it's an after-school program or a public tennis center. Number 5, it's important that, whoever you partner with, whether it's a facility or say you're a volunteer or you actually are the program director, you have to put in some type of effort to recruit program participants. So if you're new to the area, that's one thing, you probably need some support. For myself, it's been challenging as we expanded throughout Florida because I don't know all the schools, I don't know all the families. So what we do is we recommend reaching out to the local special needs schools. You send a flyer, hi, we have this adaptive tennis program, it starts on this date, this is our information. and it really helps kind of spread the word throughout social media as well. You want to invite volunteers from the local community to help assist in program implementation. So high school students are wonderful. They always need community service credits. Before COVID, we had a lot of high school students. I'm not sure with COVID right now how many community service hours they need, but we still have students contacting us to get community service credits. We do require, for instance, for our program, that the coaches, volunteers, staff, that they do follow our curriculum. The reason is because we specialize in autism, and children and adults with autism may learn a bit differently than an individual with Down syndrome or cerebral palsy. You know, every child, like Alex said, everyone is different. They learn differently, and our curriculum is more suited towards individuals on the spectrum. But we are open, obviously, to anyone who would like to participate in our classes, even if they have some type of cognitive impairment. That's fine. We do welcome all adaptive athletes to our classes. Let's see, number 8, it's important if you are a coach and you're a program director for one of these classes that you provide feedback to the organization, to for instance, someone running the organization. You know, how you report every 6 weeks, you know, this is how the class is going. I really think we can work on this, because, you know, as these organizations grow and develop, someone, for instance, like myself, I'm not always at all the programs. So we really rely on essential feedback from our program directors. Number 9, that you collaborate with the organizations on fundraising. It really makes a difference. I know Laura Finelli, who's on this call, lives in Pennsylvania, and before COVID, you know, we wanted to work together on opening a program in Pennsylvania and also hosting a fundraising event, because it raises awareness for the program. It develops an understanding of, you know, more about what these families go through raising a child with autism, and it really creates community inclusion. So it's important, in addition to the program, that you step out of that box and say, what else can I do to connect the community? Let's see, where am I? Number 10 would be, for instance, for our organization, we like everyone to use our logo. We do have banners that we printed. So we're working right now, which is an exciting new project, on a banner to hang at the tennis courts with all of the communication visuals. So the children can walk over and point, you know, use the sentence boards and the visual schedule. So that's a work in progress as we speak. Hopefully we'll have those available in the next month. Use social media platforms to market the programs and special events. So, you know, if you're running a program at a club, it's great to post a picture about the organization or the classes. You have approval from the families. We do have a media waiver on our registration, so any families who do not want their child to be on social media will let us know in advance. Most of the families are very open to it. They love to help in any way to promote the programs. And I added PR on the bottom. That's just, if, you know, for instance, if a news station ever comes and wants to speak to a pro, that, you know, you speak to us in advance so that we can prep you on our mission, our vision. So it's important that we're all working together as a team, like Alex said. As far as, I just want to go back for a second. We do actually apply for master liability insurance with the USTA. So as a USPTA pro, if you start a program for adaptive, most facilities will ask for a liability insurance certificate, and that is an annual renewal. And USTA will provide, it's around $250 for smaller organizations and around $600 for larger organizations per year. And they will provide you with a certificate to bring to that facility to show that you do have USDA's liability insurance to cover the program. Let's see, what else would I add? Purchase equipment. So we also do purchase equipment. Right now we're working with Head and Pen. We do order red, orange, and green dot balls and rackets and any type of modified equipment we order on Amazon. So we want extra poly spots. If we want extra targets and cones, agility ladders, I usually order them on Amazon, and then we ship them to the programs. I think as far as inviting volunteers, we did create, as you know, Alex showed you our YouTube channel, and our YouTube channel does have a few volunteer training videos. So if you guys would ever like to learn more about our organization or if you wanted to contact me, you're welcome to anytime. But we do have, due to COVID, I started creating more online content so that anyone can log in from anywhere around the world, basically, and learn more about how to work with an individual with autism, you know, through tennis, and how to adapt and modify. One other thing I wanted to bring into to this presentation was Alex pointed out everything we do adapt. And you know, the children at first may be nervous or shy or introverted, but it's such a pleasure to see, you know, how they light up. And, you know, 6 weeks into the session, we usually do 6-week sessions, by the way, throughout the year. And they love it. The parents report that it increases their self-confidence. And the pros, I think the tennis pros, and even my husband who volunteers, you know, it brings a different perspective into your life as a tennis professional, because you guys work so hard. And it's actually something fun to do. It's a kind of breaks up the monotony of, you know, lessons all the time. It just adds another platform to your coaching career. So if you guys have any questions, I'm going to stop my screen share. Let's see. I think I did it. If you guys have any additional questions, please let me know. I know, oh, I see one about rackets. Oh, that was Harlan. Never mind. We do order the 19, 21, 23, 25, and 27 inch rackets, as well as the red, orange, and green dot balls. And I'd say 80% of our programs are red ball, because that's introductory and working a lot on the hand-eye coordination and motor skills. And as they progress through the pathway, then we start to, as Alex said, challenge them more and more.
Yeah, no, I love it. And you know, what I love is that, you know, you're able to show us that agreement and just kind of the whole process of what it looks like. And for some of you that are here, you don't have to know all the answers. You know, again, we will give you all these folks are here for resources to help you with this stuff. And hearing you talk about all this stuff, Lisa, it sounds like you're literally just starting another new program. Like, you would need balls, you're going to need nets, you know, you're going to need everything to get it going. But thank you for that insight. It sounds like you guys are doing a lot of tremendous work.
I have one more thing real quick before I know Laura's speaking. Grant, I see a question about grant writing. I'm currently the grant writer for the organization. I don't have any formalized training, but USTA Florida has been wonderful. Their foundation, usually the different USTA sections have foundation grants that you can apply to, and they kind of walk you through the process. So USTA Florida Foundation initially helped train me a little bit on applying for grant funding, open programs. And then you just kind of as you go.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. Andrew?
Yeah, one other thing that I just noticed, since you were asking a question, this is really for all of the panelists, and I don't think there is a strict answer for this, but do you need a medical specialization for adaptive tennis, or can you sort of work in your experience and what you learn from others to sort of service these communities?
This is Laura. I don't know if anyone can hear me. I think that's a great question to bring about. Like I had mentioned early on, I think it's just, as an instructor, being able to be adaptive to the students that you have in your class. You know, speaking specifically on autism spectrum disorder, I mean, it is a spectrum. You know, it is, I think, a communication challenge. These kids are, and older adults, they're sensory driven. So when you can adapt your classes to that, obviously it's great to be lifelong learners, and to Harlan mentioned about learning more about, I mean, really meeting and learning about your students in your classroom, because everyone's going to have their unique strengths and abilities. And like what he had mentioned and discussed, and like in Love Serving Autism, everyone is unique, everyone has abilities. And what I think is great about adaptive sports, whether it's tennis or other programming that we're looking at, it's an equalizer. You know, it's allowing everyone to participate in the ability to learn. to learn how to move, learn how to balance, learn how to execute. But more so, what I love about Lisa's program and any program that has to do with adaptive sports programming is it's helping us to communicate, to socialize. In fact, probably our whole world could benefit from a program like this. But I mean, more specifically with our classes, you know, no, you don't need a medical background, but I think that, you know, to be great at what you do, you should be your best. If that's what you want your students to model, I think we need to bring that. And I think students with autism, I mean, it's not a disability to me, it's a difference. And it's our responsibility to understand what their differences are and blend it. It's about diversity, neurodiversity, physical diversity, however you want. And it's you know, giving them the opportunity, having students participate in a program like Love Serving Autism, or in a program that's run by Harlan. You know, you're not only giving the opportunity to change that child's life, but their family's life, you know, and their life is at home, at school, and hopefully we want them to take these skills out into the real world, you know, and maybe hopefully become a lifelong, you know, lover of tennis. But I just think there's so many components like Alex went through. I don't want to redo all of that, that just focus on those core values that we would like everyone in the world to have. So, you know, and there's some key ways to actually meet those students where they're at. And I don't know if I can segue in my little piece, but, you know, research proven, like, this program is amazingly dynamic. We can, whether you're a clinician on the court or in the hospital, a special needs teacher, you know, a family member, you can alter someone's developmental cascade by presenting and engaging students in experiences that help alter them and choices in their behaviors, which ultimately can alter their pathway through life. So this is an amazing opportunity to be able to do that. So, you know, and the research proven is having kids being actively engaged, not just elimination of their negative behaviors, but a true active engagement. And children who have autism may have behaviors or mannerisms that maybe other kids don't have. It doesn't mean it's wrong, or, you know, in some of these, whether it's rocking or it's jumping up and down, or they'll be fidgeting or things like that, that may be a way that they're just actively engaged to stay focused. And like I said, like what was brought up earlier, tennis is a great way for them to actively learn how to do that. So, you know, like I said, I have my 5, I don't know if I can go into it or not, but there's 5 ways to meet that I brought up.
Keep going.
Okay. So anyway, so there's 5 ways that you can help keep your kids engaged. And I had the opportunity, 2 opportunities. I had the opportunity to see Lisa and LSA in action at the US Open, which was an amazing experience in multiple ways. Seeing those kids, like, they're in the limelight, court 17, it was amazing, but it was also amazing being in the stands and watching their parents watch their kids, or the extended family while the parents were on the court. It was amazing. Like, so you can really alter lives. The other is I got an opportunity to help promote LSA at the New York Open, and actually meeting and talking with parents and a lot of the special needs teachers in New York was like, oh my gosh, I would love to implement that program. You don't need a court. You know, they were just like looking for ways to extend their teaching in the classroom in real and meaningful ways as rewards, but also Lisa's program uses a lot of, I mean, it's visual. You know, children who are on the spectrum have expressive and receptive challenges. Some have strengths than others. And it's again, from the get-go, you know, it's finding out what each of your students' strengths and weaknesses are. And as we get out of this prison, you know, those are tools that we can provide out to those who are running these programs and before the start of your class. You know, you can, questionnaires or something that the parents and families could complete. So, you know, Johnny these are his drivers. these are his drainers. You know, what are his superpowers? It's all about changing, like putting a positive spin on it and knowing that, you know, so I said like the 5 scenarios, you know, direct is best, but what does direct mean? You know, short, succinct, being specific. Johnny, that's a great way, like actually be specific about what you think they're great about. You know, indirect is not going to work. You're going to lose them because they're all about connection and they're all about being in the present. Consistency. Like I love LSA, you know, greetings. I mean, they're very, children on the spectrum are very ritualistic. If you did one thing one time, you know, you want to hold it at. But in the same sense, you need to be fluid. If you see things are not going, I mean, you have a lesson plan, but be fluid. If you see that things are going, there's nothing wrong with just jumping in there and say, okay, all right, everybody, you know, 10 seconds, we're going to jump up really down, you know, shifting that brain, shifting that energy, or everyone, let's do a big group hug because I think everybody's doing a great job, you know, getting them out of that sensory overload, because children on the spectrum are either overloaded or underloaded. I don't know if underloaded is an actual word, but so, you know, again, once you know your students, you're going to know those students who would do better at, you know, like we do jail or sharks and minnows, some that are going to be better where, you know, Johnny is going to be someone that you can't be too far. You know, Alex, that was great. You know what I mean? Like for some of these kids, just showing up is like the biggest thing that they can do. And you just build on that. You know, like sky's the limit. You know, they're already flying if they're already participating in this. You know, their families are looking for something to help their child connect, to help them. And tennis is fun. You know what I mean? We have them working all the time. If we can help develop their socio-emotional behavioral skills in a way that's fun, which to me LSA does, is great. So real quick is being specific, being gentle. You know, trying to come from that non-judgmental heart, like leave it all at the door. You know what I mean? Because we all have our abilities. Some have not begun to be developed and some are well developed. And I think it's amazing. We have high level players who are on the spectrum. We have amazing individuals in this world who are on the spectrum. So it's just drawing off those strengths to help them become successful. And children on the spectrum need to feel successful. And I think the world needs to see that they're successful as well. Eye contact is huge. It's a behavioral thing, but it helps them really connect. So, and like you said, wanting them to stay, it's not that they're going to remember all the drills and skills and all that. Did they feel safe and comfortable around you? I think that's the number one. And like Alex, like what you did, oh man, that guy's cool. He, like, you know what I mean? They may not even be able to put a word on it, but they know that when they're around you, that they're going to be able to see that they can fit. And that's the biggest thing. I have a lot of, there's so many literary resources, but I tell you what, if you want to find out truly about, this is by Laura Yarborough. And she's done other special needs care categories like Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, and it really focuses on, and also situations that can help you, as well as there's so many other resources out there to really understand autism. But, you know, like I said, you know, the handouts initially on being consistent and about constant engagement. You're going to find that you're in the middle and a child is showing that they need some space. And, you know, there's parents and volunteers on the court. So being able to just separate if that child is having sensory overload, you know, it can be sight, sound, smell, you know what I mean? And it's okay. It's about just being adaptive, and that's what we want, because they have these energy of, like, as one woman who was an adult, she has Asperger's, and she's like, I've got the energy of a Siberian Husky, but I like to drive like I'm a Mercedes Benz. So somewhere in that are your students. So, and I think ultimately it's going to make all of you a better instructor, because any great instructor is improving who they are and on and off the court, but they're learning more about their students and how you adapt your teaching to meet your students' needs. So, thank you.
No, that's fantastic. Thank you, Laura, for all that. just hearing you talk about these things, you know, it is inspiring to be able to do something like this and to be able to put a program or just a class together. And Laura, I think you said it as well, you know, as you were describing this stuff, this isn't just for you know, for kids with autism or people with autism. This is for all of our kids, all of our adults. We have to be able to adapt and adjust for them. Thank you. I have a video from Carla, since she couldn't be here with us. She works for Push to Walk, and she did a tennis workshop with them, and it's fantastic. So I'm gonna play it.
Hi everyone, my name is Carla and I'm a neuroexercise trainer at Push to Walk, a specialized gym for people with spinal cord injury, multiple sclerosis, traumatic brain injury, stroke, and other forms of neurological conditions. Since 2013, we have conducted wheelchair tennis workshops funded by grants from the USPTA Fund and now USTA Foundation. This has given the opportunity to get tennis players back on the court after sustaining their injury, as well as introduce tennis to those who never played. These workshops give the opportunity to play tennis where both able-bodied and wheelchair-bound players can intermix and be truly in an inclusive atmosphere.
And as you can see in those videos, just everyone, just how much fun everyone's having, and the work Carla's doing over there is fantastic. And, you know, sometimes, you know, thinking about this kind of a program, you think about how many things can go wrong, you know, but watching that video, hearing the presenters say, you hear about how much can go right, just how much more goes right when you're just putting yourself out there and starting a program like this. Fantastic job Carla is doing. For the sake of time, we're gonna keep moving ahead. We got Alex and Harlan up. Alex, I know you have a different message that you want to get out in this portion, right? I'll give you a few minutes. You want to share with us? Oh, you're still on mute, bud. There you go.
Yeah, I just want to reinforce what I said before. Just give them wings to fly, and make it easier and make it fun. Connect with them. Do everything exactly, or I said, with your heart. If you don't put heart in what you do, you know, you're not going to succeed. So make them feel like home on a tennis court, and don't be afraid to try it. Just don't be afraid to try it. Believe me, like, okay, I was scared at the beginning. I didn't know what to do and how, but Lisa, who just went with me through the steps, and now because we have experience, we know, ask for help. We're a big tennis family, and let's make it happen. Like, I feel like we can do more, and we can bring more smiles in this world, because as you see how hard it is right now. Zoom classes, just we can do that. Bring him to clubs. To be honest with you, this is a little issue that it might be in New York, Jason, our area here. Court time, space, indoor. It's not easy, but we can do it. It just we gotta, you know, and I think that the best reward that we get, I told you don't do this to get something in exchange. It just don't. I don't want everybody to understand what I'm doing for Lisa's foundation. It's volunteering. She's not paying me to do this thing because I want to do it. It's in me.
Yeah.
I try to do the same thing and implement this in Romania. I just give them, you know, online. In Romania, volunteering is not an option yet. So I'm saying it's not about that.
Yeah.
It's what you do.
Yeah.
And how you do it. And everybody can try it. Don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to just ask questions. Do something that makes another person happy that day. Just feel fulfilled. That's what I'm saying. And I'm going to end up with this again. Give them wings to fly. It's amazing. The feeling is amazing. You just got to try it to see it.
Yeah. No, I agree. Harlan, you wanna? I think you have more of a personal story you wanna give us. Is that?
Yeah, you know, I'll start out by saying, I think we're all doing the same thing here. We're trying to turn what most people think is tragic or tragedy, and we're turning that into triumph. And that happened to me personally. Because I've had a disability since '82, got to where I could walk pretty good with a noticeable limp, but stayed away, was not involved with anything with disability, because within myself, I wasn't one of those people, okay? But when I transitioned to the chair in 2001, tennis helped me come to terms with the fact that it's okay that being one of those people is part of my life. But what am I going to do with this? Yeah, people notice. They see me pull up in a wheelchair. So what do I do with that? What example and what kind of ambassador am I going to be for those that follow me? But tennis really helped me come to terms with everything. And so what felt tragic is now triumphant. And tennis really did that. And, you know, we all love what we can relate to. I can relate to wheelchair tennis, Lisa and Laura and Alex and others. This is what your field of expertise is. Somehow along the way, you've related to this. All of your volunteers somehow most of the time have been exposed in one way or another. A former classmate, a family member, what have you. So that creates their understanding and passion for this. And so luckily, we're all taking what we've learned and using it to help others that are coming after us. And so tennis really helped me discover my purpose. And so I'm very honored and blessed to be here and to be around other people, because we're like you, who are all in this same kind of bubble, and that is to give to others.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, you guys are the heroes here. You know, you guys are the ones out there in the front lines doing this. You guys, and for our viewers, you guys are the resources that we have, right? Kind of like what Alex said. I'm sure first time we're going to do this, we're going to be super scared or nervous, but these are the folks that are here for us to help us with this program, get this kind of a program off the ground. And I thank you all for being here with us today. Andrew, is there anything else you want to add in before we clock out here?
You know, I think you said it very nicely. One thing we'll do, I saw several of our attendees had questions. What we're going to do is we could pass along all of our panelists' emails if you have any questions, and I'm sure our panelists would be more than happy to follow up with you. But yeah, I mean, it's important, and thank you for everyone who came, because the more people on the front lines who are trying and learning, getting started is the most important thing. And our panelists and many people out there are happy to be resources, so we continue to promote adaptive tennis.
Yeah, no, we will definitely, as a follow-up email, send everyone's emails here so that you can reach out to Laura, you can reach out to Lisa, you can reach out to Harlan, Alex, and Carla. I mean, they're doing great work. They have the experience and the knowledge. Now we just need more folks doing it. Everyone, thank you very much for being part of this panel and this adaptive tennis conference. This is going to lead perfectly into our USTA Eastern tennis conference in January, where we're going to have another panel. And hopefully when we can do in-person workshops again safely, we're looking to do an in-person, on-court, hands-on presentation where we'll be able to do some of this, take this off-court theory for about 45 minutes and then put it on court and have some fantastic folks come in that we can actually try and break that barrier, like Alex said, that first time being out there. Thank you, everybody, for being on the panel, for being on the call. Thank you, viewers, for being a part of this. And we've got a lot more to come. All right. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Thank you.